Are you ready for the Calypso Rose effect?
It's like a Spanish song, eh?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a really good song.
Tina was no deceiver. You were inclined to believe her. Alatina, oh, who you have there breaking down the door. She was lucky to marry a rich man, handsome like Harry. Alatina, oh, who you have there breaking down the door.
This is Calypso Rose effect. Belgium, we are coming.
Hi folks, I'm Paolo Kernahan. Some of you may have seen that video circulating on the internet, and it is part of a promotional campaign for our very own beloved Calypso Rose, an iconic calypsonian who is now being catapulted through this very interesting campaign into European audiences' hearts and minds. And given my interest in the techniques being used, I thought I would seek out the people responsible for putting together this campaign. That brought me into contact with Jean-Michel Gibert, who is well known in Trinidad and Tobago, having been long associated with trying to promote Caribbean music across Europe. Jean-Michel Gibert is Calypso Rose's manager. And one of the things that I wanted to get into first, Jean-Michel, is we've always had a tradition of our performers going abroad. They've performed to predominantly Caribbean audiences, but looking at some of the concert footage that I see with Calypso Rose performing in music festivals in Europe, it looks to me that she is actually striking gold with European audiences. Is that a fair assessment?
I think it's perfectly right assessment. But thank you, Paolo, to invite me to talk about Calypso Rose and how this unprecedented success has happened. If you look at the spring-summer touring dates of Rose, which was mainly what we call summer festival, some of them being with attendance like 60,000 plus. You can see that on the images that we circulate on Facebook and on different media, we can see that it is a 100% European, non-Caribbean audience.
Right.
We start now for the fall-winter touring, which are about Calypso Rose as headliner and just a first act. And that is against completely European, non-Caribbean audience. To understand the process, we have to start from the beginning of the history, you see, of how we reached that stage. 2 years ago for the Carnival, we brought Manu Chao. With Manu Chao, he's a Bob Marley for European and South American audience. He has a huge followers. Manu Chao came, he met a couple of artists like Michel, like Tricanal, and he really fell in love with Rose and get the vibe to jam with her. And he is featured on 3 of the tracks of the new album called Far From Home. Now, the label Manu Chao enabled us to go and to be introduced to the label that work with him, which is called Because Music, which is one of the top independent labels in Europe. They distribute and promote major labels. They love the project and they package it very authentically, and they create an ambience of making this music modern, you see.
Right.
And a very kind of trendy people which, associate themselves to this revival, And from there, they present Rose to the main media in France, and the media pick up the story. They love the story of Calypso Rose. Their personality is so charismatic, you see. She's coming, she's smiling, she's 76, and she come and she's happy and she creates joy. And it become like a media craze. She did all the main prime TV show that the audience come ranging up to 2 million people, you see. Very difficult to access. I never accessed them with any of my artists before.
Everybody stand up, stand up. Whoa!
Obviously, this would not have been possible were there not a product, because Calypso Rose is not just a phenomenon, she's a tremendous talent.
Yeah,
but I want to talk a bit about the role of digital media, because it seems to me that it was the smart use of digital media that allowed an older person to appeal to younger audiences?
The way that they see it, it was not to bombard people with a Facebook ad. It was really organic. It was a little snippet of Rose talking, you know.
Thank you, friends.
But there was also Calypso Rose's story that was woven into this organic reach.
If I have to summarize a little bit and analyze it, because I mean it was done by the young team of the label, I think that the main item is the content that you create and the pace to which you dispatch this and share this create to the audience. I mean, we settled, of course, on Facebook, on Instagram, because we have so many visual, you know. We did not go for a Twitter, which may be put together later, and of course a YouTube for the video. It works because the video Calypso Queen, I think that has already 1,200,000 or 300,000 views today, and it's interesting because it's not 1,300,000 views of Caribbean diaspora or Trinidadian, is practically 90% of against European. The amount of press and media that we were able to get give us a lot of materials to feed on a very organic way without forcing it.
I have been looking at some of the interviews that Rose has been doing, these little clips. She's very much a part of that, and it's interesting because even at her age, she seems to understand how this thing works.
Rose amazed me all the time. Because, I mean, she's 76, it can be, I mean, 76, you are already in a senior citizen, as she say, you see. And why she is really like, really amazing me is her ability to absorb a culture. I mean, it's a different cultural environment, it's a French cultural environment, you see. Or she was able to absorb, to fully understand what's happening, what was at stake, how it works, what was the set of the album, and she carried her story on a very strong way, on a very nice way. She's never condescending, she's always happy, she's always natural, she's very humble, you see, and people fell in love with her. I mean, there is a true investment made by the label, but a lot of time it happens that you invest in an artist, you release an album, and it doesn't pick up. So it picked up, and this gold album is going to become platinum, hopefully before the end of the year.
Obviously, this is not something that happened overnight. You have been laying the foundation, the groundwork for several years. It just has taken off fairly recently. But what in your experience does it tell you about the European market, what they're looking for, how they consume this kind of product?
I should that first of all, the European market is segmented. I mean, you don't approach the French market the same way that you would approach, for example, the UK market, which is actually a quite difficult one. I mean, the three main markets are UK, Germany, and France. And once you get France, you have a good chance to get all the peripheric market like Belgium, Netherlands, Switzerland, you know, all this country around. It's a market which I think can more easily absorb a different genre of music. We did not position Rose as a world music artist because the world music market is tending to be more closer than where she reached, you see. So in France, she's not a world music artist, she is a kind of pop world artist.
What would you say is the appeal of Caribbean music in the European, Caribbean, not just music, but culture in the European market?
I believe that we are competing with a lot of different culture because, I mean, Africa culturally and musically is extremely strong, you see. Latin America is very strong also. We have to create this demand. The demand do not exist, I should say, organically, you see. Yeah. You have to create it by having, I think, strong collaboration and strong music. I mean, it's kind of funny to see that it is a calypso-based album, musically, which went through, versus a soca album, you see. That
brings me to another very important point, and that is the idea of creating the right fit for this market that you're talking about. You're actually building from scratch.
It's extremely difficult if you are not keeping a very strong Caribbean or Trinidadian musical base. I will strongly suggest that we come back to our Calypso roots. I don't see enough young hip-hop artists mixing calypso and hip hop. I don't see what we call Caribbean dance music integrating this element. I didn't even see too many soca artists. I mean, they do it to a point, but starting from this old kind of melody, which a very nice groove, you see, and with, of course, a beat which is not as fast than soca. So I feel that we are not fusing enough. Maybe the success of Calypso Rose, and we will like to start to share this success in Trinidad and Tobago. We will love this album to make an impact. So the young creator will be feeling that you can be successful by integrating some of your musical roots and past in modern music, you see.
And one final thought from you. For anyone in the Caribbean, and it needn't necessarily be strictly a musical artist, but anyone who has dreams of striking out into the European market, but think perhaps it's too big for them, it's too impossible. How would you advise them to do this?
I think that the main advice is at all different levels collaboration. Look at Rose, we did a collaboration with Ivan Duran as a producer, with Drew Gonzalez, which was arranger and writer of some of the song, then Manu Chao, then the remixer and the young EDM guys. On a more business level, I'm the co-producer of the album with Stone Tree, the company of Ivan Duran. It is licensed to Because Music, which is in turn distributed outside Europe and outside France by Warner Music. We have co-publisher, we have publisher, we have one main touring agent in Europe, we have one touring agent in Canada, we have one touring agent in the US, we have one touring agent in South America. So it's by collaboration that you are able to break the market. You cannot do it in isolation, it's impossible. And what I want to add, and I think it's a very hot topic, if we are serious and if we want to diversify, which is the only road that Trinidad has to follow, we have a fantastic material of creative people, which will be music, which will be film, which can be fashion, and the government should understand by putting some investment behind that, it will encourage the private sector to also co-invest, and we will be able to export this talent in the different areas. This program exists in developed country or country developing. I mean, just want to mention, which I know well, France and Canada, but also South Africa, Colombia, Brazil, that are countries which has deliberately chosen to push creative industry, which are now a large percentage of the export and which bring cash. And I am not seeing it in the budget, I am not seeing it in Trinidad, and I think that it's something to be really considered. We can bring a lot of export by doing that properly, you see.
Well, you know, Jean-Michel, when I first saw that video online promoting Calypso Rose, and I saw clips of her performing to very appreciative European audiences, and I thought to myself, this is absolutely incredible that a woman like this has spanned such a long lifetime,
yes.
and at what most people would consider the end of your life, she is just beginning and using modern technology and modern marketing approaches to access new audiences.
I want to add something also which I think is very important and go exactly with your personal feeling. We really would like to share the success of Calypso Rose in Trinidad and Tobago. And we are working with actually Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Trade, and also Tourism, and THA to do Carnival 2017 to be Calypso Rose Carnival.
If you're able to accomplish that, that might be the carnival that I come back out onto the streets for. I have not been out on the streets for carnival for many years, but I would definitely come out to hear a carnival that is infused with that Calypso Rose flavor. And I think that we should all get behind it, because it's really an incredible accomplishment. And thanks to Jean-Michel
Thank you
and
so
others
much,
like him
Paolo,
who believe in our culture and believed in Calypso Rose. And that is what we're seeing now, the fruits of that belief and her talent. And it's something that we can expect a lot more of.